Finally, we make it to design, what most people think a brand is in the first place, but hopefully by this point you recognize there's so much more soul behind it. Now we get into expression, external expression, how we show up in the world and exude our personality through design styles, through our logos, through colors, through imagery, through illustration styles, whatever it is, however we want to express our personality and our soul in an external way. This is your opportunity to make a great first impression and to connect with your ideal customer in an engaging, aesthetic way. And I want to start with a little exercise that's an easy way to break free from the cliche ideas we tend to land on all too easy. We're going to take those 3, 4, 5 personality traits that we just landed on, we're going to list them out, and next to them we're going to write other nouns, other things that share those same descriptions. This is a metaphor exercise that helps us break out of the obvious choices. Here's what I mean by that. If one of those personality traits that you chose was humility, that word humility, you can look it up. Google the definition of what that means. It means from the word humus, which means near to the ground. What other things are near to the ground, both literally and metaphorically? We could land on something like a mushroom. Mushrooms are near to the ground, literally, physically, but also metaphorically. They're humble little servants in the forest. They're essential to healthy ecosystems. But a mushroom could be a noun, a thing that also holds that description of being humble. We could say playful, and we could land on sea otters or circus clowns or the play place at McDonald's or water park at Disney. Whatever it is, list out as many as you can think of things that also hold those descriptions. If we're saying strong and our ideal customers want us to be strong, then we can think of Hercules, we can think of redwood trees, we can think of iron, we can think of all sorts of things. If the word was warmth and approachability, you could say fireside, you could say teddy bears, you could say wool scarves, you could say stage lights during a TED Talk, whatever comes to mind. And challenge yourself to get creative a little bit here. The further clicks that you can make connections further and further away from the cliche ideas, the more original some of this design inspiration becomes. Now, these nouns, all these connections that you previously hadn't made and associated with your company or your brand, these can serve as a fresh inspiration for your wardrobe, for your design styles, for your new logo or your new typography or your new colors or decor or whatever. There are color palettes and vibes that each of these things carry with them. Here's an example. Here at Emory, we chose our design styles based on the New York City subway. I learned in design school that the New York City subway was one of the most successful wayfinding systems in the world. It's clean, it's effective, it provides clarity, it gives travelers confidence that they're headed in the right direction. And when we did these exercises 10 years ago for our brand, I realized that our ideal customers were coming to us confused. They didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know what was next. They were having a little bit of an identity crisis. So what do they need? They need Helvetica Bold, and they need a little arrow that says, where should I go? Up and to the right. It's not all that creative, and it doesn't need to be. We've talked about how our logo is sort of like an anti-logo. It's like, don't pay too much attention to us. We're not here for us. We're here for you. We're here to provide clarity. We want to be like an oasis in the desert that someone comes across and they're like, oh my God, thank God that I came across this, and here's clarity, here are your next steps, and that clarity promotes confidence, and then they're on their way, stewarding their own brand, feeling more alive and more themselves than ever, all from the subtlety of cues that we got from the New York City subway designers from 30, 50 years ago. Even the brand colors that we chose came from subway lines across the country. We just found city subway maps, we sampled the colors from them, and voila, we had our Emory color palette. These are things that our clients might subconsciously associate in their brain and really not ever pay any further attention to it, but they appreciate it. And they recognize that it's all about clarity, it's all about systems and meeting them where they're at and guiding them to where they want to go. Let's do the same for your brand. And to take it one step further, we're going to build a mood board together to capture this vibe. So, mood boards, we're gonna create one together, okay? Using any presentation software like PowerPoint or Keynote or Google Slides, you're gonna open up a fresh document, you're gonna type your business name across the top in a big font, and then underneath it, you're gonna write your 3 to 5 personality traits in a smaller font. Then we're gonna search for images and illustrations and color palettes and fonts that work with the nouns that you landed on during the metaphor exercise. There are great websites out there like dribble.com or unsplash.com or creativemarket.com where you can type one of these personality traits in and see other people's work, other people's creations, other people's logos, other people's typographies and color palettes that you can learn from and you can screenshot and you can pull into your own inspiration doc. You want to pull them all together and begin assembling them. It can be a clean grid or they can just be sloppy and all laid on top of each other, but you want to pull 10 to 15 of these images and put them on one slide so that anyone can look at it and glance at it and immediately catch the vibe of the personality that you're going for. Sometimes it's helpful to look at each of these little images like an ingredient that's going into this final recipe of the brand, of the visual identity of your company. Some can be smaller and be like just the dash of this, and some can be big and be like, this is a big aspect of what we want to be true of us. Little bit of this, little bit of that, throw in a dash of this. You want to repeat this exercise 2 or 3 times until you land on a place that feels like a genuinely unique collection of styles. This should be fun, okay? If you're having a hard time, ask a friend, ask a coworker. This should be fun. This is free from self-criticism, free from judgment. Work at this until you have on one slide a collection of styles that you feel really resonates with you and is a unique concoction specific to your brand.